Steeler Nation, and welcome to your Steeler Nation Vidcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises. I'm your host, G.Stryker, and damn does it feel weird to have another win. I mean, gosh, let's give it up, though, for the unsung MVPs of the game, the Pittsburgh Pigeons, for flocking in to help us with another win. I loved every second of them jumping around the field like they did in the Tampa Bay game. Pickett, Pickens, Pigeons. Doing Pittsburgh right. Love it. I love all the memes about it. I want to get a t-shirt. That's my next thing. Obviously, we knew Anthony Wright was going to be our new kicker. Did not have a great first game back. He's a good kicker. He had 2 misses and 2 chip shot misses. Looked slow going into his motion. They even argued on the one that he made that they were talking like you need to be walking toward me when the ball snapped. You can't wait for the ball to be placed and then walk toward the line of scrimmage or start taking your steps to the line of scrimmage. That's going to get fixed. Hey, Ryan, how you doing? We went from the Killer Bees to the Killer Peas. Love it, Ryan. Whoo, 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 that. Pigeons were even making fun of the who-dats out there. Who-dat. Hamilcar Rashid, the linebacker on the practice squad, was released. I think that's going to open up for another move. We have not made it yet. Another thing I wanted to talk about, the Steelers teammates just voted Tyson Alualu as their Ed Block Courage Award winner. So each year, the Ed Block Courage Award winner awards honors those in the NFL for players that exemplify commitments to the principles of sportsmanship and courage. The award is unique, and the recipients are selected solely by their teammates. Every fall, all 32 teams conduct a vote, which results in selecting their Ed Block Courage Award recipient. And that what that means is that person is, symbolizes professionalism, strength, and dedication. Also a community role model. And with the honor, he enters into an association which contrasts his fierce profession by becoming a major component of the Courage House National Support Network for Kids. He becomes an ambassador of the Courage House for victims of abuse, violence, and neglect. So, huge thing. I mean, they utilize this to be identified as a team player for helping abused children and families in crisis. So, much love. Thanks to you, Tyson Alualu, for receiving the Ed Block Courage Award, especially being a little bit diminished with your team play. Recently, I know, got supplemented by Adams. Adams been doing a damn good job there at the nose tackle spot at the 0-2 tech where he was playing. But, man, I'm loving that you're at least still getting some recognition on the team, and highly deserved recognition. Ian White! Hey, Stryker, good to see you back. Thank you so much, Ian. I'll pop you up here. I forgot to even throw you up there. Good to see you too, my old head friend. Always good to have some white in the beards on the Steeler Nation vidcast. Though we're getting younger every day with the audience. Though I'm getting older. Michael Hall, we are live. Let's go, Stryker. Hello, Michael Hall of Fame. I know you're going to have some opinions. Can't wait to hear them, my friend. George Platts, Matthew Wright. Yep, we talked about him. Well, if he's kicking wrong, I want him to start kicking right for Matthew Wright, because right now he could do a little better by righting his swings and his positioning and his walk-ups to the football. So hoping to see this work out for him. Michael Hall, breaking news. If you're thinking about buying Pittsburgh Steelers season ticket for next few years, you are out of luck. Art Rooney has just sold all tickets to the Pigeons. # flying first class with the team. Love it. Rack them up, baby. That's an excellent, excellent, excellent post, man. Love it. Winning the internet tonight. Michael Hall of Fame. Michael Hall, Terminator looked good coming back. Yes, he did. And like I told you guys coming into the game, the Steelers defense is a completely different defense with and without the best player in the league, T.J. Watt. What a difference just having him back in the game means. I mean, the guy, everybody was like, we're going to have to block him. We're going to have to chip him. He was getting some pressures early. He got a couple tackles the first 2 downs. But they started chipping him. He started slowing down. He said his legs were like noodles at the end of that game. But he gave it his all. And he made it so Highsmith was 1-on-1, which allowed Highsmith to get 2 more sacks. That is huge, guys. It is the TJ Watt effect. Every time he steps on that field, the entire offense has to account for him. And what happened again? We had another multi-interception game, all from putting Tiberius James Watt, whatever his name is, back on the field. I'm going with James Kirk. Initials for that one. But back out there on the field for another excellent, above and beyond effort. Just having him on the team, on the field, made the whole team more energized. That defense was energized. The offense was energized in that first half. And did a good job the whole game. Controlled the clock. Salted the game. 20 more minutes. Finally found our ground game. You guys were talking about this before. Oh, we got to get rid of Najee. Got to start Warren. Warren's got to be the starter, Stryker. Come on. What did I say? He's been playing injured all year. Finally got back healthy, and he killed it. 1 yard away from 100. Put a ball on the ground. That's very un-Najee-like. Fortunately, we didn't lose the fumble. But still, he played like a man in that game, and we needed him to. And this is what I was expecting the offense to be this year. Not utilize your wide receivers as running backs the entire time, but this is what we expected to see. Young, fresh quarterbacks coming into our system, Najee Harris offense, control the clock, limit the amount of time that we have to go and make moves, throw the ball down the field, control the clock, let the defense win the game, keep the score under 20, score over 20, we win every week. That's what this team is supposed to be. And we just matched our season high total again this week for the offense, hitting 20 points. Woohoo! Wow, felt like 30. But fortunately, the defense is out there. Ryan, everyone that hated on Najee this year is eating their words. And he's getting nothing but stronger, Ryan. I loved what he said about Warren. He was honest when he was asked about it. He said, look, initially, I wasn't happy with Warren taking snaps. I fought against it, but let me look up the exact quote because I think it's an excellent quote. Let me get down to it. I got a lot of notes today. I'm super excited. We have a win, for God's sakes. So he said, was initially against splitting time with Warren, but I never really told Jalen. But in my head, I'm like, I appreciate what you do. You don't even know it yet. And that is a young running back who's a team leader who is now realizing that it takes a team effort, even on the running back side, to help keep him healthy and get him healthier throughout a season. That's what Warren was toting the rock earlier in the season to try to get him out there and healthy. Now he had that nice break. He's got the plate out of the shoe now going on a month, and he looked like old Najee last game. That's the first game it's looked like Najee Harris. So I'm happy to have him back. Happy for the draft pick. You guys are going to see this moving forward. He's going to continue to be strong. He might not get 100 yards every game, but damn it, he had a great game for us last game, and I'm glad he did. Jeff, TJ should have more recognition in the NFL. He does. The whole Watt family is finally giving him his props. He should have had more recognition 2 years ago. He should have won back-to-back Defensive Players of the Year. But now that he's won a Defensive Player of the Year award, he owns the sack record for a single season. He's got recognition now. Him being out for half a season hurts, but nice to have him back finally. So that's it. Luke, Burrow is throwing 4 picks and getting sacked 5 times this week. But yes, I would love to see another 4-pick game out of Burrow because he was shaking in his boots last time we faced him. Heck, Fitzmagic might be back. I don't know if you guys noticed this. This is me. This is my take. You won't hear this anywhere else on any other Steeler platform because nobody notices some things that I notice weird things. I was so psyched, almost as excited to have KZ back on defense as I was to have TJ Watt on that field. Why, Stryker? Why? Because I wanted another safety on that field that makes plays, that clicks and closes, that brings up that space so he's hitting people when they're getting the ball to them, as opposed to watching them catch the ball in front of them and then tackling them gently. Edmonds, a guy that's going to go out there, come up and wreck you. Get a penalty for hitting you so damn hard. Mel Blunt's like, that's crap. Shell's like, that is crap. Polamalu's like, that's crap. Harrison's like, come on, man. That was a hell of a hit. Obviously, a kinder, gentler, safer NFL turned that from being a big play into being a 15-yard penalty and helped them score, but it set the tone. You're going to catch the ball over the middle, you're going to get popped by KZ. That's what we need on this defense. A little bit more fear on the offense to coming out here and trying to make some plays. They got to think about getting smacked in the middle. When Edmonds is back there, they don't think twice about it. KZ's making them think. Now, here's the point that I wanted to make about KZ. This is a big part, one of the biggest points I wanted to make on my vidcast today. One thing I noticed about KZ and his alignment on the field, he was lining up in Edmonds' spot. Edmonds shifted over and played Fitzpatrick's free safety role last game. So my hope is KZ and Fitzpatrick to play together on the field as a safety tandem this season. That was my hope at the beginning of the year. I was hoping he'd find a way to supplant him as the starting strong safety, reason why we brought him in. But he got injured, went on the reserve. Fortunately, we were smart enough to roster him before putting him on injury reserve so we can get him back. And he is making plays immediately for us. Big hits, passes defense, picking the ball off. That is KZ. Love the guy. And he can tackle. Tackle hard. Not just gently get you on the ground. Different style of play than Edmonds. More physical. Love the Ryan Clarks. Love the Polomalus. Love the Lethon Flowers and the Myron Bells. Come on, guys. We were always a hard-hitting, strong safety team until Edmonds. And then we were a kinder, gentler strong safety aspect. Jeff, would have been 30 if we didn't miss field goals. Well, 26 if you're working on addition. Another 6 points, 3 and 3. But I get what you're saying. At least one more field goal. Like, we lined up. I'm like, oh, we got a chance at scoring over 20 points this season. Well, hopefully Boz gets back. Because if Boz was there, we would have had a 26-point game. Color rush this week. Thank you, Phil. I didn't know that. Is it officially, guys? Let me know. The color rush, the style color rush, the All Blacks with the mustard numbers, or are we going something different this year with like a gold jersey? Anybody hear what's going on? Standard color rush, or what is that, Phil? I'd like to know that because I am interested. Thank you guys for Instagram for being so big too. Yeah, Junkie George, you agree with me at KZ over Edmonds, man. That's what I was hoping the whole way, baby. Whole way. There we go. Now we're back down to you. All back. So, going back over to the flagships. You guys have been KZ did very well on his debut. Yeah, we're right about that. Loved that. Ian, the defense was rocking the Saints game, and our offense did a lot better as well. Offense controlled the clock. That's the way this offense is supposed to be. Mustard, dude. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like the mustard. It's like that. It's the darker yellow. It's even darker usually than the regular golds we use. So that's it. Claude, what's up, my friend? What's up? Good to hear from you again, Claude. Brian up from Facebook. The team really needed that win against a banged-up 3-6 Saints. Give these young men a confidence boost. Great to see you, Stryker. Great to see you too, Brian. Always good to have you on the show, my friend. Same as usual. Okay, thank you, Phil. Yep, same color rushes, the standard color rushes. I'm hoping because, Phil, I'm getting excited. I'm seeing a lot of fans in these, like, gold jerseys, and they look awesome. They're almost like the Gotham Rogues jersey that I just bought from Total Sports Enterprises, our sponsor. I got that signed Heinz Ward jersey. I bought it. because it was such a gorgeous jersey. And heck, he had a kickoff return for a touchdown for the Gotham Rogues. Go Rogues! But we know Pittsburgh's Gotham. There's a reason why Batman is black and gold. Come on. We know it. Pittsburgh's superhero, my friend. Pittsburgh is Gotham. Michael Hall shut down the Saints in the second half. That was big too. Yeah, 10-10 game. They had all the momentum. 2 big scores to bring that back up. I mean, that's big. That was big. You like a Steeler rug there? Yeah, it's a blanket. It's an old school blanket too. It's nice and thick. It's not as soft as all these newer blankets. My wife just bought a $65 blanket. I'm like, $65? How can you buy a blanket for $65 at the stadium? That is crap. Until I used it. It is thick. It is beautiful on the one side with the image. Nice, short, soft, like microfiber. The other side is this white cloud of freaking awesomeness. Whole family's fighting over it now. The dog's fighting to get under it. Short-haired dog. That's the way damn Browns fan dog. But that's the way it goes in the Steeler household right now. Michael Hall. Was there a change in time schedule versus Cincy? Because I saw the schedule was a night game. Yes. Originally, it was supposed to be a night game. They flexed it out for KC and Chargers are going to be the night game. We are flexed down to the 4:25 time slot. Personally, after the week 1 game, I thought this should have been a prime time game because that game was insane. Absolutely insane. Have to give Pee Wee League offense coordinator some credit for the win, even though I would have loved to have seen him go. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. We were all kind of on the ship as it's time. Like, we got a bye coming up. It's time to get rid of him. Come on, Tomlin. Do your thing. Let's get a new guy out there. But he had a good game. Smart game. We were running plays that confused the other team. A lot of big runs for touchdowns. That quick jet sweep for Pickens. He ran the Claypool jet sweep at the goal line. That used to be Claypool's play. Pickens getting in on the quarterback sneak. Pickens getting a first down on 3rd and short. This is great. We had 4 different players last week. 4 different players get runs over 20 yards. Pickens, Pickett, Warren, and Harris. 4 players with runs over 20 yards. You got to give him some credit for the play calling when you have that much success in the running game that's been so atrocious this year for us. The blocking was incredible last game. Yeah, they were missing a defensive end. Yes, they were missing their leading tackler in the middle, but we are getting hats on hats. We were creating big holes, and the players were making plays down the field with their legs. Love to see that. Yes, Phil. Yeah, Minka and Kazee, I would love. That's like my wet dream this season for the Steelers. Kazee and Minka. That's my wet dream to see back there. Sam, what do you think of the new cornerback Jackson? Is he an average quarterback, above average quarterback? Jackson's a guy that we wanted to draft. A lot of us on SteelerNation.com were talking about really being excited about the possibility of drafting him. When we drafted, Cincinnati actually jumped ahead of us in that draft to grab William Jackson. And then we ended up having to draft, Artie Burns, the other corner. Should have at least been Eli Apple at that point. We should have grabbed Apple, but no, we grabbed Burns. So that was a bust, but it would have been WJ3. He's hurt. He's on injured reserve. He's not going to play for at least four weeks, but he allotted against taking his per game bonus check, which saved the Steelers some money. I think he knew he was injured, and that was the reason why he did it. PJ, hashtag Steeler Nation. Thank you, PJ. Always love to see that up there. We are Steeler Nation without the S. The S is the one with the team. They had to make that up 5 years ago because we've owned ours for like 30 years. So that's the way it happens here. Claude, if TJ stays healthy and Pickett and the run game continues to improve, then the sky is the limit. Indeed. We beat a horrible Saints team. Well, Luke, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. That's with anybody. I wish we were playing Buffalo now with a banged up Josh Allen, with an elbow that might be going out. Instead, we had to face him full bore, full strength, got our asses kicked. Not who you play, it's when you play them. A lot of times you say, oh, that team was terrible. How could you lose to them? They didn't have a win. And then at the end of the season, they've got 10 wins. Now, who you play, it's when you play them. Ravens benefited a lot of times of Ben being injured going into Ravens games. It's not who you play, it's when you play them. And they benefited most of the time out of those games. Make sure we're back down here with you guys too. I'm not doing requests, guys, because I'm running across 4 different platforms right now. No Jamar Chase. Yes, correct, Phil. Jamar Chase is on injured reserve, I believe. So he's going to be out for the game. Heath Miller and Big Ben were in the house. Heath Miller sat right behind me. Got to say hi to him. So that was nice to see him in the stadium, as well as I talked with Louis Lips on the way out too. I said, Lou, you were my first jersey I ever had as a kid. Louis Lips sinks ships, and saluted him. And he loved that because he's a class act as well, man. One of the first great, like just all around great receiver. I mean, yeah, we had Swan and we had Swan and Stallworth, 2 Hall of Famers. Lewis had like the athleticism that jumped out of the building, kind of like playing a man's body in a boy's game at the time. TJ is an animal. Yep. You got to beat the good teams if you want to be good and win Super Bowls. Yes, and that takes me to my other point here, where we're sitting up. Heath and Moose. That's it. In the standings for the team so far. We are now 3 games behind the Ravens, 2 games behind Cincy, playing Cincinnati this week. 1 more game to play Cincinnati. We still have 2 games to play against the Ravens. We can make up our own distance in this division with these games as long as we win our divisional games. Those are the most important games on the roster. If we want a chance of making the playoffs, we have to sweep. We have to win our next 5 division games. We have to run the table. That's how you get into the playoffs. If you're getting into the playoffs, win your divisional games. JD, what do you think about how the defense performed without TJ Watt? Can we still have a shot at a winning record? As I said at the top of the show, putting TJ Watt on the field is a night and day difference for this team. We are a top 3 defense with TJ Watt on the field, and we just saw it last week. They've got a lot of talent on that team, a lot of great receivers. Olave, nobody talked about him last week. All the other receivers got shut down. Kamara, we held him to 26 yards. We held their entire team to 29 yards. The TJ Watt effect. Everyone plays better with TJ on the field. Huge. Nothing's bigger than a TJ Watt on the field. Ian, Stryker, I would rather have you doing game commentary for games. The guys they have just never talk great about Pittsburgh, right? One of these I might sit down and actually, like, I used to do color casts. Back in the, last year, they were paying me like $100 a game to cast during games. The only problem is nobody was on color cast. It was only on Apple devices. It was small. So, that's the way it is. Hey, Robert, how you been? I know you're asking about, yeah. What is the most the team has ever given up for trading a head coach? I think it's a number 1, right? Serious discussion. I think it's 2 number 1s, actually, Robert. I think I remember 2 number 1 picks for either Parcells once when he swapped. I think he swapped from the Jets to New England. And I thought that was for 2 number 1s or 1 number 1. Same thing with Chucky when he went to Tampa Bay. Was that a trade or was he fired? I think he was traded. Can't recall. And I think that was Belichick traded too, or did he go directly to New England? I forget about that one. But I remember Parcells got, you guys can look that up, the Bill Parcells trade from the Jets to New England. I know that was definitely draft picks. I thought there's been 2 number 1s once for a coach. But at least even a number 1, interesting conversation to have. Not quite big enough, Big Dan, left the tackle. Good running blocking against the Saints. Though the pass blocking has always been suspect. He is the perfect 6th lineman if we draft a dominant left tackle. Yeah, Dan Moore would be a great swing tackle. I agree. And I'm with you too. If we're drafting low, my top pick, is left tackle. Left tackle, protect Kenny's blind side. Burrow and they did it for Burrow up there in Cincinnati when he was getting wrecked. Their next big draft pick, left tackle. Boom. That's how you start slowing it down. Lil Hayward had his best game, so I was just the critic of him and recognize he's okay. He's still learning part of the game, getting in there too. Ryan, at this point, I'm not sure what season I want from us. I obviously want us to win, but if there are going to win, then we're going to need to win. I don't want to go 9-8 with a mid-draft pick and no deep playoff run. Well, here's what we're rooting for this year, guys. It's a rebuilding year. We are all agreeing to the fact, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator, no Ben. We're trying to figure out how to win. So this is what we root for. We either root for the win, which we all do as Steeler fans. That's just what we are. Because the way this coach is, the way that all three coaches we have had, Noel, Cowher, now Tomlin, all three of those coaches played to win every game they were in, even when it didn't mean anything. Play to win the game. So we're either going to root for a win, or if we happen to lose, we root for a higher draft pick for that extra loss. It's a win-win for a win or a loss this season, guys, because we know it's rebuilding. We still have a chance to make the playoffs. Nobody's running away with the division yet. Watch what's going to happen here with the Ravens. Hope Minka will be back soon. There's a chance of him being back this week. They're talking about it, Ian. They said they're trying to keep him off the field for last week's game, but there's no way they're going to let him play with an open soft tissue wound. No way. What's that, JD? They got to learn to walk with Kenny before we can run. And we're starting to walk. He can run into the end zone. I know everybody's throwing out those stats. Oh, he's a terrible quarterback. 1% touchdown percentage. Yeah, but he has 4 rushing touchdowns. Did you enter that into the fact with his touchdown percentage? Of course not. Of course not. Because sloppy reporting, sloppy negative Pittsburgh reporting only sees the negative, does not take the full stats into account. Yogi Berra had it right. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. Those are your 3 lies you're ever going to see. He knew his stuff. Robert, still, if either Gentry or Muth are out with injury, Steelers need to pick up a larger body to be the second tight end in that case. So Little Hay has always been really an H back. Hayward back is what you're saying. Yes, I hear that. Yeah, we'll have to see if he can build into his frame a little bit. His brother's a big boy. I'm sure he can pack on a few more pounds here too, Robert. Sure, he doesn't have the height, but he can still be big enough to be a blocking back, and he's a way better receiver than Gentry. Michael Hall, Eagles no longer unbeaten. I guess when a team's unbeaten, you call Washington to take it. Yeah, you pretty much. I remember that season where Dallas only lost 1 game. It was to Washington. That's back in my day. I remember when those Washington team, they had all the moxie, and they took a hit into that almost undefeated Dallas team, and they showed them what for, I'll tell you. Ian and I, we know those jokes. Yep, Donald. Welcome to the show. Is William Jackson a good pickup for depth at cornerback? Yes, if he can get on the field. Guy's good enough to be a starter in this league. I think he's incrementally better than Wallace, Witherspoon, or Sutton as an outside corner starting in this league. I believe he has more starts than all 3 of them as outside corners in the NFL. You guys can look up that number, but from what I've seen on the field, how they've used WJ3 right out of the box as a starter there in Cincy. That's the way it goes. K. Bonavan, what do you think the Steelers wear on Christmas Eve night versus the Las Vegas in Pittsburgh? They're going to have these big patches on their chest. 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. That's the only difference that they're going to have. I just picked up a pin this week. I'd run up and grab it, but I don't want to leave the cast. We're having too much fun. That's the way it goes. Steeler Nation 10-7. There we go, Donald. That's it, baby. TJ is like Freddy Krueger. He will come for you on the field, even in your sleep. Robert, the team has given 2 number 1s for a head coach. Then Mike Tomlin has all the natural talking heads hype when the Steelers can't get more than 2 number 1s in them for a trade. For me, though, if we're ever going to move Tomlin, 4 number 1 picks. That's what he's worth. Somebody will pay it. Somebody will pay it in this league, too, if they really wanted to get him on the team. Because the rest of the league likes him a lot more than Steeler Nation does for some reason. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. What's up, Cold? Hello from Long Beach, California. Go Steelers! Go Steelers! You still got some sunshine out there, I bet. It's nice and dark here on the East Coast, but welcome to the show. Whatever happened to the throwback block number unis, Phil? Yeah, I don't know. I've always loved the block numbers. I wish they always stayed with the block numbers. We'll have to see. Dan Snyder's fool enough to give a number to, along with 2 number 1s, and bring Mike Tomlin back home to the team he grew up with. Yes, he was a Virginia Beach, Newport News, growing up in that area. So, yeah, he understands the area. But it looks like Dan Snyder might not be there for much longer. Once they get new ownership, maybe, Robert, maybe the new ownership would want to make an offer like that to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know if it's a conversation that Art Rooney is willing to have, but you start thinking about it if they say 4 number 1s. You listen. I'm not doing videos, guys. I'm answering questions. Go ahead and type your questions. I've got 4 platforms open. There's no way I can really do the videos tonight. I'm sorry about that. I'll start making some shows just on Instagram. So, guys, subscribe to our Instagram channel. That is on Instagram at SteelerNation.com. We're going to start doing some shows, I think, direct videos, asking questions, having fun with it, because that's the way to do it. Cold. Yeah, there's a little bit more sunlight still. Yeah, man, I'm envious. KZ is a dude. Pickens is a dude. Kenny is a dude. That's it, baby. That's it, Miles. Michael Hall, week 13 or 14, Boswell will return after he nurses groin injury. He has to miss at least 3 more games. So he's out for the next. He's already missed 1 game. That is the definition for injured reserve. It's not weeks, it's games. 4 games. Already missed 1, 3 more weeks, and then we start talking about bringing him back. Now, I don't think we're going to get in an instance with Boswell where we're going to be like, okay, we're going to bring you back in the 21-day window and work you back in slowly. No. If we bring back Boz, Wright is gone that day, Boz is kicking that week. And that Steelers have to get better at that anyway, because that is a waste of utilizing that the way it should be utilized. Because we should never have pulled Austin off of injured reserve until he was 100%. And if that was a new injury, that sucks. That's the worst. But if we took our time for taking him off of the injury reserve, maybe waiting for an injury to one of our wide receivers, or until after we traded Claypool, where we would have had a vacuum to allow Austin to come to the team, then we should have thought about bringing him off of IR. Not the other way around, guys. Not the other way around. Phil, what are your thoughts on the Claypool trade? I talked about this on the show last week, Phil. Liked it and hated it. I like the fact that we got a high second rounder, and fortunately they lost by 1 point to Detroit last week. Knocks that pick down a peg. I'm rooting for Claypool, but I'm not rooting for his team to win for the rest of the year, because I want a high pick in the second round from the Chicago Bears. Love that aspect of it, but the thing that I hated was I thought that we got rid of a guy in our locker room that gave us all of, like, he was the intensity on the field. We pulled that out of our wide receiver room. He was making those tough plays, those tough catches, and fighting for those yards. That's what we're missing without Claypool on the field. And that's something I'm disappointed for not having him from that one. Najee is a dude. Warren is a dude. We got dogs, Striker. It's dub season. Yep. It's time to start stacking dubs. Start stacking dubs. Yep, you're right about that, Robert. Steeler fans should never root for losses or high draft picks. That's what other teams do. Yep. Root for wins. Let the season fall where it may. Then do your damnedest to draft it, because we got awesome scouts. We've always had awesome scouts. We find guys like TJ Watt 26th when we're picking. Guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. We get him late. A guy like Hayward 30th and in the 30s. Guy's a borderline Hall of Famer. We know how to draft. Absolutely know how to draft. Ian, if the Steelers can get in the top 10 for the draft, I think we can get some great picks to replace some O-line and defense. Exactly. That's what you need. Oh, got down there for it. Dream offensive coordinator for next year. I know some of you guys were pitching out Frank Reich, when he was fired from Indy last week. This might work out. We had a great game, the best offensive game this year. If we can build on it, if we can start beating good teams with this offense, if the offense can start ending these drives that are getting to the red zone, the 4 or 5 drives getting to the red zone with touchdowns instead of field goals or missed field goals, we are going to be a tougher team. We put up 30 points in a game, we should never lose. Ever. It doesn't matter who we're playing. With this defense, TJ Watt in there, if we're putting up 30 points in a game, lock to win. Absolute lock to win. WJ3 and KZ are great additions if we can claw into the playoffs. Good point, Dusty. Welcome to the show, man. What up? What up, Jay? Steeler fans not originally from Pittsburgh don't understand what a real fan since the start have always been critical of the team, which has mostly been a clear loser for most decades. Ian remembers 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, no playoff wins. 0. We were the Browns. We were the Lions of the NFL. I can't say that of them because back then they were winning championships. But we were the laughingstock until 1971 or 1972 season, 50 years ago, where we got our first playoff win on the Immaculate Reception. That was our first playoff win ever. A game we should have lost. First playoff win was the Immaculate Reception. Interesting history. It took the team 40 years to get their first playoff win. Interesting. Guys, 1 second. I'm gonna come down here quickly because it is time for us to talk about our sponsor. You know what time it is, guys. It's Manscaped time. We watched the game. Ball security is as important as anything else. Pickett with no interceptions. We didn't lose that fumble with Najee. Ball security is important. The Steelers know it. The coaches know it. The fans know it. And Manscaped knows it. Your balls are as important to Manscaped as the football is to the team. Go out there and get the platinum package. Get the lawnmower trimmer, the weed whacker ear nose trimmer, ball deodorant, body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, boxer briefs with a special ball pouch, travel bag, get it all. Manscaped. They keep your balls cleaner than my cat. And she does it herself. She doesn't have balls, though. But she keeps her OPP nice and clean. Yeah, you know me. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ken. Manscaped. Go on over to manscaped.com. Use promo code SteelerNation. All caps, all one word. 20% off. Free shipping. Manscaped. Nobody cares about your balls more than Manscaped. So go out there and give them a tug. Give your balls a tug, eh? Manscaped. Letterkenny fans there. I'm not sure if you guys like the show as much as I do, but I love that show. And Shorzy. But yeah, so that's it I got to say about Manscaped. Let's get back to the show. Let's get back to the comments because the comments are always great, ladies and gentlemen. Claude, Steeler fans blame Tomlin for his last few losses in the playoffs, but they don't talk about how bad Big Ben played in those games. And that's the thing. I mean, coaches are going to take a lot of the responsibility, and they will take that responsibility upon themselves as well. Most of the time, wins and losses come down to execution on the field. The decision-making for the players playing the game. The coaches have like maybe a 10% influence on the game. Game planning, calling the appropriate plays at the appropriate times, and game management. Clock management, throwing red flags, those impact the game. So the head coach usually has a little bit more, they are part of it. And honestly, that's the stat we track coaches on, wins and losses. Good or bad. But guys, I'm going to let you know a little secret here. Every great coach in the NFL, yeah, Cody, I play hockey. I'm a big Pens fan as well. Every big coaches with top wins in the NFL, go down the list. Every single one of them linked to a Hall of Fame quarterback. So does the coach make the quarterback? Or does the quarterback make the coach? That's interesting to think about. I mean, I think like Don Shula is probably the only one that played with 2 Hall of Famers throughout his whole tenure. He had Greasy and he had Marino. Most great head coaches only have 1 Hall of Famer. 1. And when they don't have that player, they're not as good. There's some excellent coaches that have never had a Hall of Fame quarterback, and they get bounced around like a Marty Schottenheimer. Phenomenal coach. Bounced around because he never had that one, Hall of Fame quarterback just to put him over the top. But he was smart enough at least to get him in a spot where, they were good enough to compete in every single game they were in. Robert, in Pittsburgh Grammar School, home dad would just say Bradshaw. The other kids were saying the other Terry's better, Joe Gilliam's better than all of them, etc. Steeler fans always have been critical. And we're fans. That's our job. Our job is to be critical. Our job is to have fun opinions and argue and debate and discuss. That's what we do on my show. And we all have different opinions. And you guys give me opinions and different things to think about. And I give you guys some different things to think about. That's why these shows are great. That's why it's great being a fan. Because that's all we can do. We can pretend what it's like to be the head coach. We can pretend what we do for the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator or the general manager or the owner. But we're just fans with opinions. And we're happy to have them too. Breaking news from Michael Hall. Pigeons currently making their nests around the Acrisure Stadium, prepping for Sunday's game versus Cincy. I hope we just put up bird boxes all over the stadium, all under the scoreboard. Bring them in. Go out there. Have the old ladies throwing seed on the fields before the game. Oh, here they got to get that pigeon back. Here come them Pigeons. Come on, Pittsburgh. Let's get into it. I'm all in on the Pigeons. J Nova, KZ is terrific when healthy. Love having TJ Watt back. Love that fire KP is bringing and the blocking. Yep, you're right, Jay. Great points. Oh, you're having a great show today, Jay. Thank you for all the input, man. Dusty, if the Steelers don't draft Psyche OK, nose tackle Baylor, Noah Sewell, linebacker Oregon, Jane Daniels, quarterback LSU, and Josh Downs, wide receiver UNC in the first 4 rounds, I'll start lobbying for head GM. There we go. That's what fans do. We can be GMs. We can be GMs in our own mind. We can be head coaches in our own minds, and especially a lot of offensive coordinators this season. All the offensive coordinators that I usually hear are like, don't do that. Not like, this is what I do. I'm not hearing, this is what I do, X, Y, and Z. I'm hearing, don't do that. That sucks. That's not being an offensive coordinator. That's being critical, which we are allowed to do as well. We are fans. OMG for first round picks. You just aroused me in ways that football is not supposed to be able to keep the purple zucchini or eggplant, open. Please let that happen. I think you're crazy not accepting 2 number 1s, but if you could get something like 2 number 4s, I wouldn't do it for 2 fourth rounders. No, 4 first rounders. I'd have to take that call. I would have to seriously consider it because he's a good coach. Great coach. Sorry. He's beyond good. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Ian White, you're right, Stryker. This team has only missed the playoffs, I think, twice under Cowher and Tomlin eras. Yeah, well, they each had those little runs. I remember Cowher missed it 3 years in a row in the late 90s. And then it missed it right before we drafted Roethlisberger, because I know we were drafted 11th that year. I think we were 6-10 that year. And same thing with Tomlin. I mean, he's missed quite a few as well. I think 3 or 4, maybe 5. But if we took in the rules where we get the extra team and the AFC into the playoffs, he would have only missed 2 playoffs in his tenure. 2. That's incredible because we were last team out 3 times. just on the outside looking in. That's the way it goes sometimes. Miles Stryker, what are your thoughts on getting Kelee Ringo, cornerback from Georgia, or Joey Porter Jr.? I don't know Kelee Ringo. I don't watch a lot of college ball. I'm not going to lie, but Penn State is my team. I've seen Joey Porter Jr. and I've seen him play. If we're drafting toward the end of the first round, that's a player I would like to target. Especially for a strong safety position, a position of need on this team. If we're not going to retain Kazee, or if Kazee does not become the strong safety on this team, which I think he can be, Joey Porter would be a nice fit. Absolutely a nice fit. I just don't know enough about Kelee Ringo to even make a comment on that yet. You guys know when I get closer to draft shows, I'm all over it. Absolutely all over it. Oh, yeah, I meant 4 number ones, typo above. You get it. Tomlin fans have to agree with that. Yeah, I have to agree with that. 4 number ones, it would be like the minimum that I would take for Tomlin. Absolute minimum. Right now. Jay knows what it's. Jay, you always know it at Manscaped time, man. Preaching to the choir. Nobody cares about Manscaped and your balls more than Jay Nova. I love that, Jay. Ryder, welcome to the show. I've seen a difference in Kenny Pickett since his concussion. His it factor seems to have been muted quite a bit. Stryker, do you see something similar? Thank you. He's still a competitor out there. To me, like, it doesn't look like he has antsy feet. Like you sometimes see that the quarterback's back in the pocket and they do that with their feet. He doesn't do that, but he's leaving the pocket, in my opinion, too quickly sometimes. He still has nice poise. He doesn't seem to get flustered by rushes. When he gets sacked, it doesn't seem to really affect him that much because he's a big boy, big body. I haven't seen the difference in him as much as I saw the difference in Rudolph when he got his concussion. Rudolph was a completely different quarterback after he got his concussion that year that Ben went down. He was doing great before that happened. And then he got domed in the same head like a couple weeks later with his own helmet. So, yeah. I just think he's still trying to learn the game. The thing that he's doing well, he's very accurate. Now he's getting to the point where he's not making the mistakes. He had a game last game where none of his throws were close to being picked off. And that's a step up on his games because he's been making at least 2-3 dumb throws a game. This game, he didn't make a dumb throw. Threw the ball deep this past game too. Some good plays. Guys, Deontay Johnson, give him props, guys. He's still going out there and making an insane catch every game. Every game. One catch where you're just like, wow, he caught that. That catch on the sideline with the guy all over him. The guy pushed him away from him, and he still caught that ball going down to the ground. Hell of a player. The helmet. I got you there, BM Walt. Robert, Kaylee, and Kazee. Defensive back sounds catchy, and the Steelers always had funny name players. Yeah, we did. Too bad we never had like Gay and Bush playing together. I wasn't sure how that would ever work out. I want Kelly plus Casey plus will be funny to hear the play-by-play games having difficulty pronouncing their names quickly. Plus we had Cockrell out there with Gay. I remember that. Miles, Stryker, I'm really curious where all the Najee haters went on Twitter. They were calling for trades. They called him washed up. It's really insane how fast fans turn on players who they praised a year ago. Exactly. And I said that going into this game, guys, last vidcast. You guys asked me, Stryker, what's wrong with Najee? Was it a bust pick? That was a question asked last week. Is Najee Harris a bust? Even at the time, like, no, we got a Pro Bowl out of him, and he's been hurt this year. I said, look, he's going to be healthy after the bye week. You're going to see the best game out of Najee Harris all year after the bye week. What happened? Best game we've seen out of Najee Harris after the bye week. Now, sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but for me, it was an educated guess of an injured player who was playing with a plate in his foot and his shoe all year with that sole injury, that Liz Frank injury. Had it out. It's been a month since that plate's come out. Now he's looking like Najee that we expect. Russ over here, we could have a winning record if we were in the NFC. Well, Have we won our, let's see, we beat Tampa? Yeah, we could, but we wouldn't have a win yet if we were in the AFC East. We can't win in that division at all. Presco, you think Pickett can turn it around? I think he's already starting to. He's already showing that he's starting to make some better decisions throwing down the field. I like that Canada ran some slants, ran some posts, starting to run some in runs and some crosses across the middle of the field, giving us some options straight over the line of scrimmage. It's not like we got a short quarterback. We got to worry about that, but that's just the way it goes. Yes, he is improving. He is turning it around because he's improving each game. So that's what I like to see out of him. And And it can help out with the O-line. The O-line's looking a lot better blocking, and that's been our problem all year. Well, that's been our problem all year. But we're getting much better at the pass blocks got to improve too. But Coach said Kenny can help Kenny out in the passing game because some of those sacks were Kenny's problem, trying to leave the pocket too early when he still had a pocket. Robert, Kaylee, and KZ tongue twister play-by-play would at least give us a smile at any more championship football. I'd be fine with that. Ian Big Ben took all those hits over his career, and his ability to escape sacks and make those accurate throws that were so exciting to watch every game will be missed for sure. Agreed. That guy was just so tough to bring down. Miles, Kenny Pickett ran 19 miles per hour, like 30 yards down the field to block for Najee. Now, that is commitment and fire. The dog mentality we need in our quarterback. I am glad you noted that, Miles. I was at the game. I did not see that. I wish I did. 2-1 in every other conference. Well, there's only one other conference, but yeah, if you've been any other division, except for the AFC East, right now I think we're 0-4 in that division. Lost to Miami, lost to the Jets, lost to the Pats, lost to the Dolphins. We're not winning that division this year. Absolutely not. Prisco, if the Steelers turn the season into something, TJ Watt should be in the MVP combo. He should have been the MVP combo last year. He should have gotten a vote last year. He's the reason why we made it to the playoffs last year. Heck, he had an a touchdown on the first play for the defense last year against Kansas City. Our only chance of looking good in that game. All downhill from there, but hell. 1980s, I followed the Steelers closely as I do now. It's the same thing as the last 10 years of just having a non-losing season. Felt like we were doing okay. Mediocrity, fan expectations again now. Yeah, Robert, I mean, growing up watching the game in the 80s, I mean, we were coming off all the Super Bowl wins. Still some high expectations in the early 80s with Bradshaw, though his elbow was starting to have issues, got some surgeries, had to transition to Malone. Malone got hurt, did not become the high draft pick that we thought he was the reason why we didn't draft Marino. So that's just what happens. And then we had to deal with it. And I think 1988 was like one of our worst years ever. And then 1989, we started off horrible, outscored 90-10 in the first two games, still got shut out 4 times that year in losses, still made it to the playoffs, still beat the Houston Oilers on that kick in overtime by Gary Anderson. Almost beat Denver in their home the following week. Chow, chow, Dad. Hello to you again, my friend. You can say anything you want on this show. You know that, chow, chow. You earned it because you're an old head. You're an OG for the Steeler Nation chat, my friend. I will always take your responses. It's like back when Saturday Night Live was funny and they had Lower the Expectations skit. Yep, Lowered Expectations was the skit on Mad TV. Yes, the dating profile one. Yes, that was on Mad. It's Steelers Nation fan base in the comments section now. Yes, it is. Absolutely is. And there's some funny ass skits now on Saturday Night Live. Holy crap! Oh gosh. What's the guy's name? Pumpkins, the guy that Tom Hanks does at Halloween. That's one of the funniest skits I've ever seen. Mr. Pumpkins. Google it. It is insanely hilarious. Absolutely funny stuff. So you can still have funny stuff. And plus, I just watched last week with Chappelle was on the show. So I went back and watched that on rerun. Steelers going to the bowl. That's the way Steeler fans are. Always expect the win. Kaylee Ringo was the guy who picked 6 Alabama in the championship and sealed the game for Georgia, rated best cornerback in this draft class. I'd take him. If we're drafting high, that's where you get those shutdown corners. That's where you get those decade Hall of Fame caliber left tackles. The Steelers, have they ever had a Hall of Fame left tackle? Hall of Fame right tackle? Nope. Why? Because we're not drafting in the top 10. Since 1970, we're usually not drafting in the top 10. Counted on one hand, guys, the amount of times we drafted in the top 10 in 50 years. That's insane. Low expectations are pathetic, and so is hanging on the head coach, whose only real winning was 2 decades ago. Lowered expectations. That was a funny skit, though. That was a great skit. Didn't Coach Holmgren have more than one great quarterback? He did, but they kind of ran him out of town quickly with once he transitioned. He was with Favre for a bit. No, he went to Seattle before Aaron Rodgers became the starter. I'm talking about Hall of Fame quarterbacks, not great quarterbacks. Great Hall of Fame coaches are linked to Hall of Fame quarterbacks. That was my point. So Holmgren had a good quarterback out there with Hasselbeck. He was a good quarterback and made him a lot better than what he was. That was a good season for him. Would you draft another quarterback if you're up there? Prisco, not this year. To tell you the truth, if I'm up there though, and I said this on the show last week, if you're drafted in the top 5, somebody wants to jump from the top 10 into the top 5, they will give up the world to get up 3-4 spaces. You make that trade and trade back every single time. Get multiple first-round draft picks for multiple drafts for a team with a new quarterback. Next year, they're probably not going to be that good either. Trying to get that new quarterback up to speed in the NFL with a bad team already, which is the reason why they're drafting so low. So you make that trade every time, especially when you have Kenny right now as your franchise. He is our franchise right now for the next 3 years, guys. We are banked on Kenny. We will not draft another quarterback high, in my opinion. Maybe a little lower for a backup. We'll consider it day 3. Day 3, not day 1 or day 2 anymore. Day 3, yeah, maybe bring in a backup. Phil, we need to get more deep balls to Pickens. Preaching to the choir. Walsh, yes, Walsh did have Young and Montana, but I think he only had Young for maybe a year. Actually, let me look it up for you right now because I have the window open for the histories. I know he didn't play long with Young, but he did institute a new way to play offense. Having the inventing the West Coast offense was just amazing. So Bill Walsh stopped coaching in 88. And Joe Montana was always his starter. So no, he never had Young. Funny enough, though, Seifert won Super Bowls with Montana and with Young. And we don't consider George Seifert as a great coach for some reason. He should be up there. Don't consider him a Hall of Fame quarterback at all. He had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, which is what made him so good. He was in the playoffs every year but 1 year. Seifert had a hell of a run. Two Super Bowl wins for Seifert. I think it was 3 for Walsh. Yep, 3 for Walsh. Yep, that was the way that one worked out there. Magnan, welcome to the show. Highsmith played well, I thought. TJ's presence a big factor. Yeah, he's getting single covered. He got 2 sacks. Got single covered in the first game. Got multiple sacks in that first game as well. Great point. Matt Canada got to go. Migs, Todd Haley seemed like a god. Yeah, Todd Haley, the best statistical offensive coordinator we ever had, Prisco. Best offensive coordinator we ever had. And weird to think about. So, a couple things I wanted to talk about on the game. I'll make sure I got all my points up here that we talked about. Yep. Talked about injuries. Oh, Miles Jack didn't play in the game last week, guys. And that was something I was like, why isn't Miles playing? He's in uniform. Why is Spillane starting? He came out with the starters being introduced. Had that knee injury, was limited all week. They kept him out. They said they could use him if they wanted to, but they erred on the side of caution. They were in control of the game. They didn't feel like they needed to really put him in. Plus, Spillane balled. He was all over that field last game. He had a hell of a game. That's what I want to see out of Bush. Bush should be making plays like Spillane made plays. Spillane got us a turnover. A stat that should be put down for defenders. The tackle made for a turnover on downs is a turnover. If it's a pass defense for a turnover on downs, it is a turnover because it's a turnover on downs. Yeah, if it's the end of the game or end of the half, it doesn't really matter. But situation like that, middle of the game, a team is trying to go for it to try to stay competitive in that game. Turnover on downs is a turnover. Need some John Petroshin, add another linebacker to the defense. Okay, if that's draft, I don't know the people yet for draft, guys. I'm not up on the draft yet. Dotson still has a hip. Najee Harris came out of the game a little bit. He got checked for a concussion, but he came back in, so he was good. He's going to be limited this week with his knee. Doesn't sound like it's going to be serious. Just keep it easy. Anthony Witherspoon still has his hammy. He's still being monitored. He's probably not going to play this week the way they were talking about it. Micah Fitzpatrick also coming off of that appendix. He wants to come back. And then off of the team, talk about Juju a little bit. He took a big hit to the head. Came out on saying he was thinking he's going to be all right for this week. Hopefully he is. Leo's asking for a record prediction for the end of the season. I called it 10-7 at the beginning of the season. We're still on pace for it. If we go win out with one loss, I'm spot on my numbers. We'll see how it works out. Phil, Larry O has been such a huge addition. Yes, he has. Warren looks good. Would love to see him more. I think we're seeing just the right amount of Warren Prisco, especially with Najee getting healthier. I think they're a great compliment, and kudos to the offensive coordinator and to Tomlin now, who a lot of you guys are saying they keep running the wheels off of these running backs, working other people in. Ben should never be an offensive coordinator. Sorry about that. Sometimes great players don't make great coordinators or great coaches. Ben would be bad as an offensive. Do it this way, but I can't do that. I'm not 6'7" with unable to be tackled by the other team's defensive linemen. They're not strong enough to bring me down. He plays a way nobody else has ever played, so he'd be a bad offensive coordinator, in my opinion. Frank Reich, good offensive coordinator, in respect. But then again, he wasn't a great quarterback. He was a good quarterback. So we talked about Pickett. He had 199 yards passing, a touchdown, rushing. He's got to grow a little bit. Tomlin likes his growth. It's been impressive on all levels. It looks like his ankle's going to be fine. But he's got to improve on that 6 sack mark. Absolutely has to improve on it. Talked about that. Talked about KZ at the top of the show. Wallace also, we didn't talk about Wallace yet on the show. 2 passes defensed, including tipping that one pass, getting intercepted by Spillane, and getting his own interception in his own right. Heck of a play. Heck of a play down the sideline by Mollett as well. That was a big play at a big moment during that game as well. Could have been a different game if he didn't make that play. Might be hit like a little lost, but we'll have to see. BTO, what hurts with Matt Canada is he calls certain plays I like. Situational plays are very bad and predictable. Needs to run Najee more out of single back and not shotgun. Or the other aspect that I hate is when we line up empty backfield in short yardage. I cannot stand that. I hated it with Ben. And now that we have a younger quarterback that can actually get us the first down with his legs on those 3rd and shorts, we should never be doing that. Yep. We talked about Larry O over here on the other side as well. We are all loving some Larry Obi-Wan Gajobi, the Jedi Master out there on the defensive line. Oh, and I hit all my points, so I'm happy about that. That's a good show. It's a good show when I can hit on all my points. Back to you guys. Didn't Harbaugh have more than one great quarterback? Did Harbaugh ever have a great quarterback? No. He's had good quarterbacks. None of them are going to be Hall of Famers. And the other one's a running back that more than a quarterback. Didn't the Colts coach have more than one great quarterback when they got rid of Peyton and just got luck? Yes, but they were different coaches. It wasn't the same head coach. We're talking about the head coach linking. But yes, great points. And great, because I've thought through this for days, weeks, the type of things I think about. Would you draft a corner round 1? Yes. If we're drafting in the top 10, that is a highly sought position. You find Hall of Fame corners and Hall of Fame left tackles and Hall of Fame any defensive position in the top 10. That's what you want to get. Miles, it's nice to see Canada using the middle of the field a bit more. Not sure if it was His plays, though, he even seems surprised by it. Now, it's his plays. We got to give him credit where credit's due. Ian, Striker, you think Najee is like Bettis or Parker? Unlike both of them. Absolutely unlike both of them. Parker was all speed. He had speed. He's one of the fastest we've ever had. Bettis was all bowling ball, but he had nifty feet. And he was a good pass catcher. Najee's a better pass catcher. Najee has more athleticism than Bettis, but doesn't have the power that Bettis has. He's his own player. He's even different than Bell. Bell, I thought, was very elusive, almost like not Barry Sanders, but Barry Sanders-esque. Sweet feet, tough to bring down in that first 8 yards. Really, really a great nifty runner. All of them are different. And Barry Foster. There's another great back that I like to talk about, and I'd love to watch him play as well. He played a little bit like Bettis, but he didn't have the ability to catch the football like Bettis did. Wasn't as good in that respect and wasn't as elusive, but he was all power, and he had good speed. Almost won the rushing title, lost it by 1 yard to Emmitt Smith that 1 year. BTO, corner and O-line this draft, I feel like we are very solid everywhere else. Well, strong safety, going to need a starter. If Edmonds is a 1 year contract. Kazee, I can't remember if he's 1 or 2. I hope he's 2. Might be getting Carl Joseph back too. I'd love to see him coming back in the mix as well. But that's an option there. Inside linebacker, Bush is going to be gone this year. Inside linebacker is another need. And then maybe a nose tackle, but you can get nose tackles high day 3. 4th round draft pick should be a nose tackle, in my opinion. You can get a great one there. If we were in the AFC East, we would beat the Jets and Patriots the second time. Well, if we had TJ Watt for those games, we would have won them. Absolutely would have won them. Michael Hall, I heard a commentator in the Bills versus Vikings game that Josh Allen was like Big Ben tough dude to take down. Your thoughts? I've been telling my Buffalo Friends fans when I'm over on the Overdue Bills fan podcast, my good friends of the show here at Steeler Nation, had them on our show as well. We remember when we were asking Matt some questions here on the vidcast. I tell them there's nothing closer to me watching Big Ben than watching Josh Allen, except for Josh Allen runs more running plays than Big Ben ever did. Big Ben would run if necessary. They have designed running plays for Josh Allen. We never really had. We used to run it a couple times when he was young. First 3 years, we'd have a design running play. Maybe we'd run 3 a year. They run 3 a game with Josh Allen. They really utilize his mobility over there. So a little bit different. Steelers missed playoffs too much, more than twice. That's undercommon. Please get real with your inaccurate comments other than other commentator. I don't know what you're talking about. I know it's like around 5 times we've been missing the playoffs. I can run down the count if you want me to, but we all know it's about 5. Not too bad for 17 years. Josh Allen is electric to watch. Michael Hall. When I saw him teabag Jalen Ramsey, I said he's going to be a goat. Yeah, he's a lot of fun to watch. Nice teabag reference, Miles me likes. I love you guys in the comments. I love how we're all having fun with each other. Joey Porter, yeah, if we're drafting late in the first round. I don't want him in the top 10. Don't want Joey Porter in the top 10, Leo. It's only a matter. Chow, Dad. It's only a matter of time before Sims breaks a return for a touchdown. Kid's special. I hope he does. I really hope he does. Timburo, did Josh Allen use Ramsey as a human toilet paper after a teabag? Yeah, you guys are having fun with it. Have you guys been keeping up with Sauce Gardner at all, Striker? No, not much. Fill me in on it. What's up, Striker? Great win. Hey, Derek, good to see you back on the show, my friend. Let's keep the momentum going. It's time to stack some wins, guys. I will see you next week. Striker 28-24. Pitt over Cincy. Go Steelers. Go Pigeons. Stay safe and salute. Thank you, Michael Hall. Always good to have you, show. Guys, we're at the hour mark. We're going to run through your comments as quickly as possible. So Josh Allen jumped. Yep. Yeah, we'll stay off the I know you guys are having fun with that. That's cool. I can stay off of that stuff because you're talking back and forth. Miles, put some respect on my boy Miles' name. Miles Jack. I think it's got to be the first jersey I have. Awesome. Do you think they will keep Ogunjobi at defensive tackle after the season? I hope so. I really hope so. Corner, left tackle, strong safety, outside linebacker. Definitely. Allen is playing dividends in my fantasy football league. Yep. Robert, Dave Chappelle's a real comedian. That's why both show and the ratings are different with him than the PC fake. Well, I don't get into politics when it comes to humor. I don't like politics in general when it comes to entertainment, as most of us as NFL fans will agree. Andy Reid had multiple quarterbacks that are great. I said Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. Of course, he had great quarterbacks. He had Donovan McNabb. Now he has Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think that's probably his first Hall of Fame quarterback. He almost won a Super Bowl with a great quarterback, not a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he's a hell of a coach too. Absolute hell of a coach. How many more years do you think Cam has? 3 max. 3 max. Guys, that's all the time we have on the show. Come on down. Make sure you put in your last comments. I will go to you guys for last words. Podcast will be on Friday released. Be sure to subscribe to our channel at YouTube/Steeler Nation to be first to know, because I record that live. Just in case I lose stuff, I always have it on the YouTube. So if you guys want to watch it before it's released anywhere else, subscribe to the YouTube channel /Steeler Nation to be the first in there to watch that. Read our great Steeler-focused articles at SteelerNation.com. Tweet us at Steeler Nation. Instagram and Facebook at SteelerNation.com. Follow the podcast on Twitter at _SN Podcast. Or follow me, your host, SN Stryker. Stryker spelled with a Y, on the Instagram, on the Twitter, on the Tickety Talks. That's how you find me. Going back to the comments, guys. Oh, we got some good ones. You got some good comments here to end the show. Love these. Miles, bye. See you. Jay Nova, see you next time, Stryker. Have a good one. You too, my friend. Thanks, Jay. Thanks for coming to the show. Ian, have a good evening, Stryker. Go Steelers. Thank you, Ian. Love to hear it. Magnum, favorite IPA, Stryker? Mine is Fathead's Headhunter. Crap, I can do a podcast on favorite IPAs. I do like the hazies. I do like the milkshake. I do like the New England style IPAs. Bissell Brothers up there in the Portland, Maine area kills IPAs, slaughters IPAs. Crooked Crab, I wear that shirt every once in a while on the shows. One of them is called Infinity Crab. That's an awesome IPA as well. And then anything that Adroit Theory puts out in Purcellville, Virginia, their IPAs are insane. Absolutely insane. All their stuff down there is insane. If you ever got to go to, if you're a big brewery guy, they do IPAs, they do Belgian style, they do stouts and dessert stouts, and then they do these fruited gozes. Off the chain. All of them are off the chain. There we go, Robert. I'm going to end with your comment here too, sir. Ultimate Steelers D-line has Joel Steed sandwiched with Mean Joe, Aaron Smith, but Cam Hayward would be on the back up line, and I would also rotate the 2 lines for my all-time all-star Steelers team. No Casey Hampton there. Yeah, you got Joel Steed over Casey Hampton. I don't know. I disagree on that one, but hey, it's fun to argue. Love it, guys. Hey, guys, that's all the time we have on the Steeler Nation Vidcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises, part of the Big Play Vidcast Network. I'm your host, G.Stryker, rooting along with you as always. Oh, why is that banner still up? I got to get rid of that banner. There it goes. I got to run my own board. I'm going here. Rooting along with you as always, ladies and gentlemen. Go Steelers!